Hi everyone, and welcome to a live stream for the Festive Tech Calendar. Tonight I am going to talk to Vukasin. Well, Vukasin's session is all about Azure OpenAI, and his title is Azure OpenAI is a game changer for automating common IT tasks. So without further ado, let me say hello, Mr. Vukasin. How are you, sir?
Hello, Greg. Thanks for having me here. It's great to be part of the Festive Tech Calendar again.
Yeah, thanks for doing this. I appreciate everyone who takes part in this. So,
No, this is definitely a great initiative. I remember when it was Azure Festive Calendar, and it was actually one of the first, not completely first, but one of the first places where I had to put myself out there.
That's awesome. I didn't know you were one of these people. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was. And it was funny because on the first year when you were doing it, I did not submit in upfront. And then I saw your tweet, or maybe Richard's tweet, that you have an open slot that someone had to cancel.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, okay, I want to do it. And you said, okay, let's do it tomorrow. And I and I had to go and create the whole presentation, entire video recorded during the night. And then I sent you a link in the morning, and it was published next day.
Wow,
and it was really good. I mean, it was really good to be part of the community. And since then, I believe I did it every year. So it's great to be back.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Yeah, it's good to see you again. So you're going to do how to use Azure OpenAI to automate common IT tasks such as requesting resources, migrating code, and monitoring systems.
Yes.
Right. Do you want to put your slide up? Will I put your slide up? Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. So this is the only slide I have. And in case you don't know me, my name is Vukasin. It's great to be here today. My job is I work as a cloud solution architect, or solution architect for Microsoft architectures and infrastructures. Apart from that, I love using PowerShell and automating tasks and applying like DevOps principles to different areas of my work. And I had the chance to work on many different projects in the Microsoft world. My IT career started over 20 years ago, so I've moved through different positions, and this is where I'm right now. I'm also Microsoft certified professional with more than 20 active certifications, and I'm also Microsoft MVP for Azure. In my personal life, I like to travel. My family and I spent around 6 years traveling around the world, never staying in one place for more than a few months. And right now I'm settled in California. So today I'm going to touch base on Microsoft OpenAI tools. And I'm not expert in AI or machine learning, but I found those AI tools really interesting. And I think AI can change the way we work in a big and interesting ways. This is something that we did not have a chance to experience before, and now it's really, really interesting to me. So that's why I'm talking about it today. And as Greg mentioned, this session is going to be mostly practical, and this is the only slide I have.
Nice.
Right. So let's jump straight into it. Okay. So first, this Azure OpenAI access is still based on it's still in preview. It's still not something that is generally available for everyone. So if you want to get this in your tenant, you have to go here and apply for access. It's a little form. They have some criteria how to get approved, but basically you need to input as much information here as you can. And there are some limitations you will learn here. I received this access back in, I believe, March or April this year. So I have it for a long time. And since I started using it, all the tools and the portal and design of everything changed a couple of times. So it's still evolving. And I just want, sorry, not this yet. And I want to clarify one more thing before we start. People are usually confused between OpenAI and then Azure OpenAI. So what's the difference? Well, as you know, OpenAI is a separate company that brought to the world ChatGPT, which was the tool that gained most popularity and helped to all the AI tools to get where they are today. And Microsoft invested heavily in that company, billions of dollars, and they are now owning the part of it, and all of those Azure OpenAI tools and all the Copilot and everything else that we keep hearing from Microsoft is built on that OpenAI service. But this is like a Microsoft proprietary implementation of it, and it's very, very well integrated in all of those Microsoft services. Right. So once you get, so let's see how to create those resources in your environment. Once you get approved, you can go back to your subscription and search for, let's say, Azure AI services, and this is where you can see here. Another way to create some of those services, and we are going to cover some of them, not all of them in today's session, but one of the ways to create them is to go here and create those specific resources that you need. Another probably more intuitive way is to go to OpenAI Studio, which is a new website you will get access to once you have it enabled in your tenant, and then start from here. The tools that you see here might be different in the region you are in. So I created this in the East US, but if you go, for example, West US, for example, DALL-E will not be available there, but you will get a possibility to use, for example, GPT-4 or maybe even like some Whisper audio services that are not available in this particular region. And then same goes in Europe. This is something that I don't know where is what available, but it is very well documented, and you can easily do the research before you start creating. For me, I settled on East US because I use those services the most, and they're available here for me. And then, obviously, when you start creating it, it will guide you through creating those individual resources that you need to be able to use it. And this take a little bit of time, so I already have those created. So we are going to skip those steps, but it's nothing difficult and nothing like super custom. Basically, I built the Azure OpenAI service, which is the main one that we'll be using. And then I also used a search service, which will help me work with my custom data that I can upload. And this is completely separate. Hello, Luke, I see your comment. Good to see you here. And another thing that is completely separate from this Azure OpenAI is a Copilot. Again, that's another service for which you need to request your early access, still in preview. And we are not going to be covering that today, but I've been playing with the Copilot a lot again. And some of the things that I used to do here within chat changed, and I'm now doing them from here. So I'm going to also skip that from demo because I think it's better to do it from here. So I'm not going to be showing it in the original demo that I had in plan. All right. So what we can do and how is this actually useful for us, and how can we utilize these services to help us speed up or some tasks that we are using day-to-day basis. And also the question, I guess, would be, how is this different from having, for example, like using free ChatGPT or something like that? So to answer those, and those are the questions people ask me, why should I be using this when I can use free GPT model? And I guess that's the basic question. And answer to that is simple. You don't always need to use this. However, it's much easier to customize and make it work for you in your own way. And I'll explain that shortly. And also you can use it with your own data, which I think is crucial. And it's the biggest difference between this and using a public ChatGPT. So customization, right. Now you can also customize GPT, the public one from OpenAI. You can give them different personalities, give them different like skill set and so on. And you can customize that in the browser. In here, customization works a little bit differently. You can, and I'm not going to be going in depth into that today, but you can basically provide information here in this system message and tell how to practically affect the behavior of your chat, of your assistant. And you can change its personality, you can change his skill set, you can like limit its answers in a way that it's doing what you want to do and the way how you want it to do. And this is very useful if you are creating like a public chat service that will be, for example, published somewhere and allow other people interacting with it. So to give you an example, maybe we can even do that example quickly now here. But for example, I can say you are a cloud solution architect. Now you are right. So we now gave it a purpose, and the purpose is to help with cloud solution designs. But still, I can ask it, even if after I save this, I can ask it what's the weather today or something completely unrelated. And he's still going to answer the question. So with me putting the message here, I can limit that behavior. All right. This is just an example. I didn't plan to show this, but I just want to show you how this can be done. And again, this is something that is useful if you are putting this publicly. But my focus for today, it's going to be how I can use this to help me directly. So I don't need any of this, right? If I'm going to use it for that specific purpose, I don't need to give it a name, and I don't need to make him avoid those questions. So what is the capital of US? You see, now he's not telling me what's the capital of US, and he's politely refusing my So you can see that we easily, with just a couple of sentences, gave him a name, or him, it's it, and limited what he can talk about. Again,
even that one's quite cool.
Yeah, this is not perfect. They're much like, if I ask him now about, for example, Amazon Cloud, he's going to answer the question because I did not limit specifically. If I want to stay, for example, only in Azure world, I will still need to specify that more and explain that he can only answer question about Azure. And then I would probably have to specify that if asked about Excel or AWS or something like that, different technologies, that he should not be replying. And then, like I created a chatbot that was really well defined. And it helped me really avoid all the things that when someone asked about competitors or something like that, it was really strict about replying only about one thing. And also the good practice to make this more like defined is to give it some, for example, examples of what are the answers, and he can then use those examples and build on top of those and always answer the same. But again, we are going somewhere that I did not plan to show today. So this is the chatbot that you can fully customize, but is also the chatbot that you know from using the GPT. And there are other parameters here that are very important. And by this you can define how answers are created, and obviously this is related to length. Then we have temperature and top P. This is those values, and it's explained here. Changing temperature makes it more creative, for example, and you can end up getting answers that are very creative and original. But in a technical world where you need like a specific strict answer regarding some technology, you cannot make it really creative, because in that case he will start making up things and providing you solutions that not really exist. So making it creative is good when you are writing text or poems or something like that, but when you want it to answer technical questions, then you want to make it like strict and professional, and not very creative, in a way that you will get correct answers. Usually, not always. You still can hallucinate, but usually it's very good in providing those answers. Right. And so how I use this for automating some of my tasks. And again, what's the difference between this and the GPT from OpenAI? So the main difference for me is the way this works with the data, and you can safely enter like customer information or some sensitive information that you don't want to be shared to the world, and you can enter them here, because everything you enter here stays within your tenant boundaries. So whatever I paste here, it's not going to go out, and he's not going to be training itself on this data that can potentially share with everyone else. This stays within my subscription, within my tenant boundaries, and Microsoft or anyone else does not have access to it. So that's the first thing, which is very important. If you use this for your work, you cannot be pasting information into the OpenAI. Another very big reason for you to using this over the public one is that you can add your own data. In the ChatGPT, you can also add your own data through some kind of plugins. You can like upload PDFs and stuff like that. But again, you don't know where that is going to end up, and you cannot be uploading sensitive private data there. In here, again, you can do that, and you can work with your own data. So let's see how we can do that. First of all, I'm going to delete this because I'm going to be asking some questions that are not related to only to cloud. And let's upload some data, and then I'm going to give you an examples of what is this good for. So data source, we have different data sources. I guess the easiest one is to upload your own file. I'm going to use Azure Blob Storage. Oh, before I do that, I need to upload those files into my Azure Blob Storage. So I already have that created. I have a container called functions. Don't know why I called it functions, and there is nothing here. So let's upload something. I have something prepared. I will explain. I did not upload the data through Portal in a long time. Okay, so I have a few examples here. I'm just going to upload them. Oh, this one is not there yet. Okay, hold on 1 second. I'm going to demonstrate how that he is actually really learning from the data. I'm going to use a different chat, not the one from the one that you just saw, just to make sure that this is coming from somewhere else. And I'm going to ask it to generate a new word for me that does not exist right now. Okay. Okay. All right. So this is the.
That could have went better.
Okay. So this is the new word that definitely does not exist. So I'm going to save that into a file that I just. Where did it go? Okay. Sorry. It went to a different folder, but doesn't matter. Okay, I'm going to paste that into. I'm just going to paste that into this file. What just happened? I lost the copy button here, but that's okay. Okay, so that's the new word. I'm going to copy that because I'm going to need it. And now I'm going to upload those files, including the new word file that I just saved. And then I'm going to explain those one by one. So let's upload that to my storage account. And now let's add that data as a data to my chat playground. So I'm going to select the storage account. I'm going to select container. And this is my search. One. So also notice here, I'm not going to have this hourly. I'm not going to have this refresh. This is just one-time operation. But for our demo, that's okay. Of course, in my production environment, I have this set up on repeat. So if I add new files or refresh the files, they will be indexed again. So what's happening now is that he's going to use that indexing process that I just created, and it's going to read all of those text files from my storage account. And the way he's going to read them is that he will have access to all of this information. I will be able to work from this chat window with all of this information that's uploaded there. And so let me just explain what I actually uploaded. So this new word is just the word that we just defined. Then I have another thing is one PowerShell function that I created for logging. Actually, I asked it to create it for me, so this is a new function, but it's basically a function that is used for logging. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. Then I created like a fictional design document for some Contoso's infrastructure. That's an example. I will usually upload a PDF or a Word document of my, for example, the design that I'm working on, or for example, if clients shares their design document with me and then I need to work with that, I will upload that kind of document that you will see the examples what I will be asking about that. Then I created a sample here of PowerShell brackets. Do not format your brackets like this. This is ugly and it's very difficult to read and everything, but I wanted to create it in a way that it's obviously different from a normal one. And we are going to ask it to create a script, but to use this formatting instead. And this is the way you can teach it to write the code in a way you want to do it. I usually don't do it like this. I usually provide like a full script that I wrote before, and I tell it, okay, use this style, and he can usually like pick up all the things that I'm using, like splatting or the way I name my variables and all sorts of things. He can detect that it's different from its own default style, and then he can apply all of those settings to the code and write it in a way that looks like I wrote it. So that's another example. And then another file that I have here is a Python script, and we will see what we can do with that. So going back here, it looks like this worked. It's created, it's uploaded all of it. So now I can ask it, what is the meaning of, where is that word? All right, and now he knows. If I asked it, I didn't show you that, but if I asked this question before, it would have no idea. It would say this is not existing word. But according to the retrieve document, and now it summarized the explanation that I just wrote. So this is a proof that obviously the working with my own data works. And now let's see what we can do with that. What is the purpose of say this function? Again, it would have no idea what that function is, but now it's reading the document, it read the code, and it's summarized. I did not have too many comments in it, so this is not based on comments, this is based on reading the code. And now I can say, write me a PowerShell script that will use, say, this function for logging, and it will use my brackets template. Oh, I didn't say what I didn't say what the PowerShell script would do. So okay, so okay, so it used my brackets template, and so you can see this is the style. This is the ugly bracket style. So it did apply that to the script, and it did say this instead of write output. It did actually use the function say this. However, it made a mistake because it did not include that function here. And obviously that script will not be functional now, because it will, if you try to run it, it will say this does not exist. So you can see that you have to be very precise in the requests, but I wrote a simple silly request without even specifying the function. I mean the purpose of the script, so it did what it could. But let's try that again with be more precise. Write me a PowerShell script to, I don't know. Any suggestions, Greg? What the script should do?
Oh, I don't know. Give me the capital cities in America.
Sorry, what?
Give me the capital cities of countries in America or something like that. I don't know. I'm not very good at coming up with stuff.
Okay. I don't know. Let's say something with numbers.
Give me the number of days in each month.
Oh, but it's not. That's not going to use if else, so it's not going to be able to apply this. Okay, script to ask user to guess number between 1 and 5 and reply with correct answer. Use say the include. Okay, this is more precise. Let's see. It still did not include the script. Sorry, the function. But it did write the script, and it did again use this ugly ref style to show it. So you can see that this is like the way where you can easily make it write code in a better way than it would normally write. Again, this is not perfect, and this is something that you can easily achieve in this GPT as well. You will just have to paste that there, the content of it. But if you have many of those functions, then that becomes problematic because you'll have to paste one by one. Where in here you can upload them in the files, and I have set of, I don't know, maybe like 50 functions that I use all the time. And every time when I want to create a script, I already have them there in my storage, and I just tell it, okay, use this function for this, use this function for this, and I don't have to reinvent that again. Another way of making this even better is to specify this in here. So you would specify in every script, use this script as a template. Let's say copy the scripting style from this particular file, use this function for this purposes, use this function for this purposes. And if you specify that here in system message, that will then be applied every time, and you will not have to write it like this, like I have it here. So for me, this is completely new way of writing code. It simplifies things very much. Plus, another thing that I like to do and use is to actually execute this from PowerShell. So I will have this all set up in my VS Code, and then I will have like connection string and everything to this particular chat. And then and you can see that also from here. Here's the key, an endpoint that you can call from your PowerShell to be able to execute this command. And then the result will be that I have that integrated in my VS Code. And I did not write script from scratch. It's almost a year now. I always start with this. obviously that approved during the last year, this method how I use it. But basically I always start with this, and then I optimize the code, I test it, I rewrite some parts of it. It's not perfect, but it's definitely much faster than starting from scratch. And then another thing is that by using your own style, using your own functions that you already have and already tested them, then it's make it super simple to optimize the code in the end and then just run it. Basically, if you tune it well enough with this system message and with your pre-created things, you can get very close to the final version on the first prompt on the first try.
This is cool. I didn't even think you could do this kind of stuff. I just thought the chatbot was more like a chatbot where you just ask questions. But I really like the way you've done that. That's really cool, actually. One quick question: you're in the context here of like a session. Can you save sessions at all? Because if you close that browser and go back, have you lost everything?
Yeah, yes, you did. You lost sessions here. Even if I make a change here and I save it, it's gonna reset the chat. It's not gonna delete previous one, but it's gonna like stop it, and then it will lose context from before, and you have to start again.
What's the import setup and export setup? I take it you can't export these settings anywhere now.
Yeah, you can. Well, no, this is setup. You cannot export this. You export setup.
Yeah.
How to export the chat results, I am actually not sure, because here in this one you have your history, everything is saved, but here you don't have that option.
I've been using this quite a bit, but I didn't use it. So what I did was I exported it as a website. You know, up the top right, you can create a website. This. I did that, and then you can turn on the save your history in Cosmos, which is quite nice. I didn't realize you could. I learned a lot there because I didn't realize you could tune the system message the way you did it, and I didn't really think that you could upload files and then run code to look at it in this format. That's really cool, actually.
Yeah, no, this system message thing, it's amazing. I really like spent a lot of time playing with it and trying to get the chat. And I have one exported, as you mentioned, as a website. As a website that is available for my team members. No, it's not exported. It says here deploy to, and then web app. And basically you get the URL that you can share and the people can use it. And I asked some of my colleagues to go in and break it, and then I tried to avoid my rules, and then I kept like improving it, and I got really useful, well-defined chat, actually several of them for different purposes. But really the key here, if you want to use this, the key is to provide examples, also to provide things that you cannot talk about. I tried playing with, for example, saying, okay, after finish every sentence with ASCII like image of a cloud, or I even like worked with in a way that be rude if someone asks you the same question a couple of times, like just flip them off, be rude to them, or tell them, okay, if you give me chocolate, I will give you an answer, and things like that. And it really like, it can work really well. Some things it ignores. I didn't figure out like why some comments that you specify here, they're completely ignored. But most of the things you can really go in and define, and you get completely different personality. It can be cheerful, it can be like angry.
How do you change the personality? Where do you do that?
No, you just write it here and define.
Okay.
This is the message, and this field can be really long.
Okay.
So I did actually another session. I can find a link online, and where I showed this a little bit, but it's really a good place. And I did not originally want to talk about this today, because this part is, when you are making it to speak to someone else.
Mhm.
When I'm trying to, make my things automatic, I don't need any of that. The only thing I would put here is saying that every time you write a PowerShell script, use this function for logging, and it's gonna do it. But other than that, I don't need to change personality and things
Mhm.
because this is just for me.
Yeah.
Now let's try another question. So I uploaded. So that what did we do? Yeah, I uploaded that Python script. I'm gonna try to do this differently now. I'm not gonna ask him to open the script. I'm just gonna paste it. So you can see that you can do that as well. You don't need to have a file uploaded. You can just paste it here and say, what is the purpose of this script, right? So there is a script. This is the question, and we should get an answer now. The purpose of this script is to create a virtual machine in Azure with specific configuration, right? So, okay, cool. It's a lengthy script, and I say, now write that script in just want to show you a couple of different things. And I don't know if it's stuck or something, but okay. Guess it's still working on it. So what it's trying to do now is to go line by line of that Python script and write another PowerShell script. Oh,
That's a few times. Yeah.
Okay, it worked. And it created basically a PowerShell script that's doing the same thing. However, if you look at this PowerShell script, maybe this is not the best way to do it. I mean, I guess it did it nicely this time. But what I'm trying to say is that sometimes when you ask it to convert from one code to another, it's trying to go and follow the same logic of the original code, and it does not work every time. Because if I say here, write a PowerShell script to create Linux VM in Azure. Right now, it's not trying to copy the previous one, but it's doing it from scratch. And the possibility is that this logic will be cleaner and that the script itself will be faster and better and probably will not have any errors because this is a simple task. You see, this is much shorter and much cleaner than the previous one when it tried to go and take the Python script and basically recreate it from like this in the same logic. So what I'm and why I'm saying this is that I use this very often to not well how to say it. Sometimes if the solution exists in, let's say, Python and it works, then you can obviously go and try to create same thing in PowerShell. I'm not proficient in Python, so editing that for me will be much more difficult than creating it from scratch in PowerShell. But sometimes if you try to translate it just one-to-one, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And as you can see here in this example, writing it from scratch in a PowerShell way, it's much more efficient and cleaner and nicer than trying to do it in a Python way. And so I use it a lot for code translation, but not in this way. What I usually do is that I ask it to write me a description, and then I copy that description and say, write me this in PowerShell.
So that's a good idea as well. Yeah.
And so that's much better than going and asking to translate it, as you can see in this example. However, sometimes, again, this is, you see, says using Python SDK. So if I pasted this and say write this in PowerShell, it will try to, I don't know, use Python SDK from PowerShell and then do some imports and some craziness to achieve that, because that's part of the solution here. So you have to read that description, obviously, and ask it to do. But for me, this proved to be very useful, and not just for Python and PowerShell, but I use this for Bicep all the time.
Same.
It's not very good at Bicep, still makes a lot of mistakes, but it is useful, and it's better than starting from zero. Okay, and then another thing, there was another file that I uploaded, and it was a design document. It's just generated simple design document. And I can ask questions about that. How many VMs okay. Let's see, did we upload the document? Yes, I did. What is the objective of Contos? Okay, something's wrong, or I'm asking the wrong questions. Let's see, maybe just want to verify that the file that I uploaded is not empty. No, it's not. Maybe, yeah, clearly there is objective here somewhere written. Design components. But I never tried with Contoso. Maybe that's like a Microsoft. Maybe that's Microsoft's company that's already like maybe somewhere rooted in the data, so it's now confused. But what I'm trying to do is to use this chat to help me analyze the document. Then sometimes you receive like 50 pages document from a customer, and you don't want to go through and read every page of it, when you can just ask it here to summarize some information for you, or to answer like specific dependencies. Obviously, you can go and Control F and search within the document, right? But this is actually much better because you can get more context. And the idea is that this bot will read the entire document or multiple documents, and we'll be able to connect them based on a company name, let's say. And then when you ask the question, then you can get answers pulled out from multiple sources and get the proper
I mean, summary. I do a lot of Azure designs, so I put them in a folder, projects folder on my machine. So I did this, I uploaded them all. And if I'm doing a new design and I want to query those 50 documents for which design included Azure SQL, this is what I'm doing. I've uploaded that, and I'm doing this exact thing, and it'll even give me a link to the document, which is quite nice. So yes, I'm doing it. I think that's super useful.
Yeah, no, definitely. And if you have to go through all of the through many of these multiple documents, and you have like same types of questions, then you can even create a specific chatbot here that will have those questions predefined, maybe, or the things to look for, and then you can pull it through just by company name.
Here's a question for you, right? I'm just thinking out loud here. If I have 50 designs and some of them will have Azure SQL, some of them will have VMs, is there any way I could get it to generate a document with each section and every? So like there'll be unique sections in some documents, and there'll be duplicated sections, like the Azure SQL probably in quite a few. So it's the same paragraph of text. Is there a way I could get it to generate a document with all of the unique like paragraphs from each design? Do you think you could do something like that?
Unique Paragraphs. Well, it's gonna be so far how I worked with it. It's always working with a data set for one company.
Mhm.
So I'm not asking it to go over multiple, like all the data that I have, and I
Yeah.
don't know if that's even possible, but that's something you are looking for. But I ask like, what type of database is being used in Contoso, and it's going to tell me
Mhm.
because it can identify that by the company name.
Yeah.
Maybe if you ask a question about SQL servers in your
Yeah. I'll give it a try. I'm just thinking out loud. Because each document has got paragraph headings. I'm just thinking, I wonder if I could say, for all of the documents that are uploaded,
that's
generate a new document based off of.
that's very difficult to ask, because if you ask it what's in the document and you give the document name, it's not going to tell you.
Mhm.
So I have a file here. Okay, and I say what is in. He's not going to tell me. He's going to tell that he's not able to read it or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and but if I ask specific question related to the context, it's going to answer it.
Yeah.
And so if you want to go and search over multiple documents, and if you say what's the content of this chapter, I think he's going to be confused.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Luke said that you could probably do that, which is a good point. You could use the M365 Copilot to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Cool.
all right. We are running out of time, so this is like, let's say, the basics of what you can do to help you with like working with the code. I do have a little bit. Well, I have a few more examples of what I'm using it for, but for me, this screen we are looking at is mostly for writing the code and going through those documents that I upload. And again, the main difference between this and GPT, the OpenAI one, is this part where you can upload your own data securely. There are a couple of things that you can go here and explain more. For example, completion, where you can select one of the templates or create your own. Again, this is something that it's predefined and help you speed up the preparation. I don't use that too much. DALI, obviously, this is the creating images. This has been recently released as a Microsoft Studio. What was it? Designer. And I find that the free version in Designer is actually produces nicer images than this. And this again generates some cost every time you run it. It costs you like $2 or something like that. So be careful with that here. And again, this is something that you can easily also run from PowerShell. You just need those two pieces and you can run it from PowerShell and get that result within your PowerShell prompt. I just want to use the last couple of minutes that we have here to switch to completely another part of the Azure OpenAI service, and it's this studio. So this is the new studio that they just created, and from here you can access some information and some more tools that you can access from here. Sorry, where am I? From here. See, this is a different site. It's still called OpenAI Studio, but this is the new Azure AI Studio. Not to be confused, Azure OpenAI Studio and Azure AI Studio. So this is a different one, but from here, you get to see all of those models. And one more thing I was playing with was the Lambda model. This is the one from Meta, from Facebook. Llama, sorry, not Lambda, Llama. And I have to say that in some things, it's better than GPT-4. I was really surprised, but I've been playing with this Llama, with the newest one, a lot recently. And for a lot of tasks, I get the better results than from GPT-4. So I think they did some improvements here, but this is a good place to, play with, to create a new project and play with a lot of those new things. Obviously, speech and vision. Again, if you click speech here, you can use it from here, or you can go to separate speech studio, which is again different. I think they're building a lot of stuff very fast, and all of those portals are coming up, but this should be somehow connected and united later on. And I'm just going to give you an example. I'm not going to show that. We don't have time for that. But speech to text and text to speech is very, very useful in our line of work. So recently I found a video which was very lengthy and covering a topic that I was very interested in. But first of all, I did not have 1 hour to watch the video. And also I had to focus on it and just to learn a couple of things. So what I did here is that I went speech to text. I extracted the audio from the video. I uploaded it here and I got the transcript. If the video was on YouTube, you can probably go and download the YouTube transcript and got this step, but it was not. And I uploaded it here. I got the text, and then I used that transcript in my chat and ask it to answer me specific questions from that video and summarize the answers. And it took me maybe 10 minutes, and I got all the answers that I needed, and I did not have to spend 1 hour watching and hoping that the things that I'm looking for will be explained in the video.
Good idea. Yeah.
So that's really useful. And then what you can do moving forward from that. If you want to write a blog post based on that video, you can then just paste the transcript and say, okay, write me a blog post with this information, and in 5 minutes you have a blog post ready to publish. So that's another thing. All right. So almost at the end. Does anyone have any questions?
I have a question. See if you go back to the far left-hand tab. Is it the far left one? Yes. Oh, no, not that one. Yeah. No, second tab, sorry. Azure OpenAI Studio. Yeah, that one. So see on the left, I'm sure I saw something about plugins. Is that coming in? Because what I was thinking of when you were showing us what you were doing with PowerShell scripts and all these different files, you could create a plugin that you could potentially use and maybe even sell. That'd be an interesting idea. And you had to format the code based on the way you want it. That'd be cool if you could somehow have a plugin that you could share with other people that they could then make use of that. That'd be quite cool.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So what's that, or how is that being done? Is that you can actually, in the integration, if you go, for example, here to chat, the integration with your own custom apps. That's like a bread and butter of this. Basically, Microsoft does not want you to use it here. They want you to create and optimize your things and use them in your own applications. And so creating your own, let's say, Copilot, it's very well explained in a docs how you can create your own Copilot and use it with integration with other applications. So if that's what you meant, Gregor, then you can definitely create and customize your own, feed some information, and then I don't know how you would monetize that, if you can sell it directly, but you can definitely create some application that will use it, and then you will monetize it through selling that application.
Cool. I'm just going to find a link real quick. I found a video for this kind of stuff, so let me just put it in chat. If you want to learn a wee bit more and you're interested in this stuff, then I'll put this link in the chat. Vukasin, thank you very much. This has been really cool, actually. I do need to spend a lot more time. I didn't realise there was so many different studios. It's quite a lot.
Yeah. There is. It's so how you can, like, sometimes Microsoft has a lot of those information here, where on the OpenAI, and this was one of the things that I wanted to show, is that tokenizer, but let's keep that for now. But how you can find some of those tools is that if you go to actually OpenAI, and from here you have and where is that now? You have to scroll here. You have all of those services here. You have those services named. Did this changed again? I was going to say that it's easier to find some of those services from here, and then when you search for it with Microsoft Azure, you can find that service. For example, this speech studio, that's how I found it. I found it by searching for Whisper, which is how OpenAI calls the service, and then you end up here. And there is one more studio that I wanted to show, but I don't have a link to it now. But anyway, sometimes it's good to know what are the services called on OpenAI, and then Microsoft usually has the same service just stuck under Azure OpenAI.
Great. Cool. Thank you very much for your demo, and thanks for spending an hour with us. That was really good. I know you've just come off a flight, so you just flown back from, where is it, Paris?
Yeah, I flew from Paris.
Must be tired. Anyway, thank you for doing this, and thank you for taking part in the Festive Tech Calendar once again.
Welcome. Thanks for having me here, Gregor. Thanks for hosting the session.
Thanks for everyone for watching. I will download the video and put it on the Festive Tech Calendar YouTube. Just thanks for watching, and hope you're all enjoying all the great content, and we'll see you soon. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. I'm just going to click end stream, Vukasin, and then I'll have a quick chat with you. Bye for now, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.